Hello, everybody. Over the last week, Lucy Letby has been convicted of 7 murders of babies and 6 attempted murders. If the jury got this right, then she deserves everything that she's getting. However, I have to say, I am not convinced that the jury did get it right in this case, and this may be one of the biggest miscarriages of justice that we've ever seen in the United Kingdom. There are so many things about the case that just do not make any sense. Before the case happened, during the case, and even in the reporting that we're getting in the mainstream media after the case. Now, I want to make a much longer video on this at some point because I'm looking into this among many other things that I look into all the time. But I'll just say 2 things to start with. We are being told by the mainstream media that Lucy Letby killed 7 children, 7 babies, because in the period of time, the 12 months between June 2015 and June 2016, there was a spike in the deaths of babies in the neonatal unit in the Countess of Chester Hospital, and 7 babies died. And then she was charged with those 7 murders and then convicted of them. Except that isn't true. In the period of time, those 12 months, there were actually 15 babies who died in that unit. And Lucy Letby was present in 8 of the cases where a baby died. But in 7 of the cases, she wasn't present at all. So clearly she could have had nothing to do with over or about half of the deaths that happened over that 12-month period. Before the case started, the judge directed the prosecution that they were originally going to bring 8 murder charges against her, but the judge directed the prosecution to actually drop one of the charges and just press charges in 7 of the cases. So the actual whole truth is there were 15 deaths, not 7, and she was only present in 8 of them, and one of them was one of the times she was present, the judge considered it that there wasn't enough evidence to make a prosecution. So what we're being told isn't true. That's the first thing. That was also presented in a spreadsheet as evidence to the jury. Again, they didn't receive the whole truth in the spreadsheet that was given to them. It said there was all of these incidents, deaths and near deaths, and Lucy Letby was present at every single one of them. But that was in the cases that they were bringing to court. There were many more cases of babies dying and adverse health events that she wasn't present at. So if they had given a spreadsheet listing every single incident, she would not have been seen to be present in every single case. In fact, just about half the cases. The second thing is, the case of Lucy Letby bears a very striking and disturbing similarity to another case that happened in the Netherlands, the case of Lucia de Berk, who was a nurse in a neonatal unit, and she was convicted again of 7 murders of babies in 2003 for incidents that happened over a 12-month period between 2000 and 2001. She was convicted entirely on circumstantial evidence, just like in the case of Lucy Letby. All of the charges that were brought against her that she was convicted of by a jury rested on circumstantial evidence. There was no direct evidence at all. Even the one case where there was evidence that sounded scientific, like she'd injected insulin into one of the babies, baby E, I think, who actually survived and is still alive. that was circumstantial because there's no evidence that she actually did it, and the test that was used for insulin didn't actually meet up to the regulated standards for a test. It could not actually prove that insulin was injected exogenously. But that's not being told to us by the mainstream media, and that wasn't questioned either by the defence in the trial, as I understand. So Lucia de Berk, going back to her case, she was convicted of 7 murders of babies in a neonatal unit in the Netherlands, purely on circumstantial evidence, but then later on the case was reopened and she was exonerated and she was freed in 2010 after she spent 7 years in prison after a miscarriage of justice. And the Lucy Letby case is almost identical to the case of Lucia de Berk. All circumstantial evidence. And in this case, there are other deaths of babies that happened where she was not present. Which also brings about the question, even if you take out those 7 babies who died that she's been convicted of by a jury, that still leaves an unexpected spike in baby deaths in that unit, in that hospital, of 8 babies who died that were nothing to do with Lucy Letby. And now nobody is looking into them and investigating them. But they constitute a very big spike in baby deaths, and the people who are concerned about deaths of babies, and we all should be, are not even questioning, well, what about these ones? No one is even thinking about those. It's just being swept under the carpet because the police, the prosecution have got a conviction of somebody. And in my view, that conviction is unsafe. And I hope that there is an appeal and she gets a better defence, and the evidence that is presented shows the whole truth.